Good evening, friends. After Nyay, The Justice, starring Zubair K. Khan and directed by Sarla Saraugi, is set to be released on June. Another film about SSR is to hit the scenes and is titled Suicide or Murder, which is supposed to feature Sachin Tiwari, who dresses in such a way that he looks like SSR, like an SSR clone. You would have seen in the poster of this video. He started trending on social media after Sushant Singh died. Hailing from Rai Bareli in UP, Sachin is a fitness freak and a fan of SSR. The report says that he backed this film because he even dances like Sushant Singh Rajput. They say it's neither a biopic nor nor deals with his untimely death. So then, what does it explore? What is the script? Shweta Parashar is to star opposite him. And you'll find that something very strange is that there are no production details on the poster to show who has produced or directed it. So I wonder whether they're just testing waters to see how public will receive such films and whether the audience will go for it at all. Please give me your views and comments on this, friends. Meanwhile, filmmaker Shekhar Kapoor, who had signed Sushant Singh Rajput for Pani, which was later shelved, went on Twitter to say, "I miss exploring philosophy and physics with Sushant. For someone so young, his mind was incredibly agile with amazing wisdom," he tweeted. Coming from an international filmmaker like Shekhar Kapoor, who knew what Sushant was undergoing in Bollywood, and yet he did not stand with him or hear what were his problems. He just chose to ignore it. And he sat, like many other people, he also became a fence sitter. In July 2020, Shekhar Kapoor had tweeted, "If you want to journey with the gods or your creativity, you have to walk each step in devotion, in humility. God willing, Pani will get made one day. If it does, I will dedicate to Sushant. But it has to be made with partners that walk in humility and not in arrogance." Whether this was a dig at, Yash Chopra Films, which is handled by Aditya Chopra, I do not know. Anyway, my only comment is that it's too late, my friend, Shekhar Kapoor. It takes guts to stand with the ones you love, and you need integrity for that, and fight all sorts of obstacles to stand with it. But when you don't want to upset big production homes in Bollywood, you will continue to remain silent. Meanwhile, in the Vaze, Mumbai police initiates a process of dismissing suspended API Sachin Vaze from service. He was arrested by the NIA in the Antilia bomb scare and the Mansukh Kiran murder. Mumbai police has initiated the process of dismissing from service suspended cop Sachin Vaze and Mansukh Kiran's death because of these two cases, Mansukh Kiran's death and the Antilia bomb scare. The NIA arrested Assistant Police Inspector Vaze on March 13th. The City Police Special Branch recently wrote to the Maharashtra Anti-Terrorism Squad and sought documents pertaining to the case. It also has a copy of the FIR registered in connection with Hiren's murder and the statement of the businessman's wife in which she raised suspicion of Vaze's role in his death, a police official said. The ATS has provided the documents to the Mumbai police, he said. The special branch had also sought similar information from the NIA. After receiving the documents, the special branch recently initiated the process to dismissing Sachin Vaze from service under Article 311 of the Constitution, sources said. Based on the documents received from the ATS and the NIA, the special branch will send a proposal to the government to dismiss him from service, and a decision will be taken accordingly, they said. As part of the probe into the Ambani security scare case, the NIA has also arrested API Riazuddin Qazi, who worked with Sachin Vaze in the Crime Intelligence Unit, former policeman Vinayak Shinde, and cricket bookie Naresh Ghor. Qazi was suspended from service on Monday. The SUV with explosives was found near Ambani's residence in South Mumbai on February 25th. Hiren, who was in possession of the SUV, was found dead in a creek in Thane on March 5th. Meanwhile, in the Sushant death case, the NIA has detained 2 alleged drug peddlers. after conducting raids at several locations in Mumbai on Monday night in connection with the drug case related to the actor's death. The raids were conducted in areas of Malad, Parel, and Santa Cruz, and the agency also recovered drugs from the possession of the arrested persons. According to the NCB, one of the two accused had earlier been selected to become a policeman. The NCB, which has been probing the drugs angle in the actor's death case, started the investigation after it received official communication from the ED in which there were various chats related to the drug consumption, procurement, usage, and transportation. The ED had on July 31st registered an enforcement case information report in the late actor's death case after a first information report, which is an FIR, was filed by Rajput's father, KK Singh, against Riya Chakrabarti in Bihar on July 28th. Rajput was found dead at his Mumbai residence on June 14th. Early on Friday, the NCB filed a 12,000-page charge sheet at the Mumbai Sessions Court in connection with actor Sushant Singh Rajput's death and drug case, naming 33 people and containing statements of 200, the sources said. The charge sheet stated that tests confirmed that seized substances are narcotic substances, NCB sources added. The next piece of news is nothing that we already don't know. But now Nawazuddin Siddiqui, the actor, who is known for his acting talent, has spelled it out clearly that superstars do fake acting and that aspiring youngsters should not emulate them. He says that aspiring actors need to make sure they have their unique style while entering showbiz, adding that if they intend to copy the superstars, they will not be liked by the audience. I would just like to say from my experience that you should not lose your originality. These superstars do fake acting, so don't get carried away with it. I want to see your original acting. If you're acting like a superstar, why would I watch you? If you show something good, something that's interesting and original, I would want to see that, he said. The actor added that the stars are now moving to OTT because films are not being released in theaters. In the beginning, it was because of cause and passion. Now, because of the lockdown and films not releasing in theaters, these big stars are coming to OTT. That is not a good thing. Now there are big OTT platforms that are taking these big stars. Why didn't these stars come before? He says. Meanwhile, the musician, the great music director and musician A.R. Rahman, who is normally very quiet, spoke recently on why he hates the term Bollywood. Anything coming out of the country is called by this generic name and it's very condescending, he said. Filmmaking is a 5 to 6 year old process. It's not like I'm doing something on the spot and people are judging me. There are many layers of checks, test screenings, because the sensibility of our movie is slightly different from what's coming out. We wanted to make sure we got the right reaction from people because they deserve to see different voices, he said. It shouldn't be the same kind of formula, he said. So that's the one thing I believed in, that each production should have a voice and nothing should be generic, or that is how Indian movies are. Already we are making our movie industry generic by calling it Bollywood. Anyway, that comes from any part of the country. It's called Bollywood, which is also a ripoff of Hollywood. It's disrespectful to our filmmakers and amazing workers, he said. When you go out and meet people like stuntmen, cameramen, you understand how talented and underrated they are and how they take a risk to do movies. I want to show respect to all of them. And that's one of the reasons why I campaigned against saying the word Bollywood is so generic and condescending to us. But that's another chapter. So we wanted to have a voice, and this voice should have its own character and future. The usually reticent A.R. Rahman has a lot to say these days. After all, he's producing a film, deciding the minutest of details, and has only himself to depend on. Rahman has turned a writer and producer for the upcoming musical 99 Songs. It's liberating, but also feels lonely. There is a huge gamble. Either I'm finished or set. Meanwhile, we all know how men used and abused the beautiful actress Parveen Babi and how she died a painful death. Now, actor Kabir Bedi opens up about Parveen Babi's tragic death and reveals 3 men who loved her and came to her funeral. Actor Kabir Bedi's book Stories I Must Tell, the emotional journey of an actor, will soon be available to all. And in this book, the star has written about his journey in Bollywood and also his highly publicized personal relationship. In the book, the actor talks about how he was in an open marriage with the famed Odissi dancer Pratima Bedi, and that did not make him happy. She was Pratima Gupta before. Our open marriage may have seemed like a good idea at first. In the end, it only caused me greater anxiety, he said. It had led to a lack of intimacy between us. I didn't feel the love that I wanted, the caring and sharing I needed, nor was I able to give it. The old magic had gone. I was feeling alone, empty, and dejected. This comes from the excerpts of his book, which was published by a leading daily. He goes on to talk about the relationship with the iconic Parveen Babi, who changed the face of Indian cinema with her choice of roles and her style. Kabir Bedi relates how his relationship with Parveen Babi ended, and ended that with dancer Pratima Bedi, with whom the actor had described as was an open marriage. There was no easy way to break the news to Pratima. I'm going over to Parveen's tonight, I said softly when she came in. Parveen's? She repeated in surprise. I could see her computing. That must have happened. But I've only just arrived. Can't you stay tonight at least? I shook my head. No, I have to be with her tonight. And every night. In that moment, she realized that our relationship had changed forever. She let out a deep breath and looked at me. Do you love her? I nodded, not without sadness. Does she love you? She asked, her voice a notch higher. Yes, I said gruffly, wanting to cry. The couple divorced in 1977. Parveen Babi, he wrote, filled the void. She was a ravishing, beautiful actress with fair skin, long black hair, and dark, mesmerizing eyes. Until then, I'd always thought of her as a girlfriend of Danny Danzongpa. He was a good-looking Sikkimese actor, 2 years younger than me, a year older than Parveen. In the years ahead, he would become a highly successful villain in Bollywood and be nominated for many Filmfare Awards. Parveen began her rapid rise to stardom during their 4 years together. Her living openly with Danny, wearing jeans and smoking in public had given her a bohemian image in India. But morally, she was a conservative Gujarati girl. But the rest of the Juhu talked about free sex, preaching of Guru Osho. She believed in sexual fidelity. It's what I was looking for when I fell in love with her, he goes on to write in the book. Actor Kabir Bedi, who has written about his turbulent relationship with Parveen Babi in his autobiography, has said that he was vilified by the press when his romance with the troubled actress ended. Speaking to a media, he said that Parveen, who lived with him in Europe while they dated, returned to India after they called time on the romance to restart her career. Kabir Bedi also said that after the end of the relationship, he still hoped to help Parveen Babi, but then she had left for India. The entire India press made it out to be that I had shattered her emotionally and therefore she had gone crazy. Terrible things were written about me. I didn't counter it at that time. I knew she was coming back to Mumbai to rebuild her career. She had left India with me and people were upset. His autobiography clears the air. Mr. Bedi said, among other things he has written about the way we related even after we split up. And my last meeting with her was at Holiday Inn few years before she died. However, the press reported that Kabir Bedi had shattered her emotionally because of her deteriorating mental health. All this was blamed on him. Terrible things were written about me, he said. Parveen Babi was also dating or into a relationship with Mahesh Bhatt. She struggled with her mental health for years and was found dead at home in 2005 at the age of 55. But for us viewers, the fact is we all know that the mafia within Bullyweed used and threw her like a dog on the streets when she became useless to them. That's the only fact that is true. And this is the same that applies to whether it's Divya Bharati or Jia Khan or Sri Devi or even non-entities like Disha Salian, who was not into acting. Meanwhile, Ekta Kapoor is still in problem because his story's poster row, Love filmmaker, remains dissatisfied with Ekta Kapoor's apology and says it smacks of arrogance. But then that has been her style, her signature style, her arrogance. National award-winning filmmaker Sudhanshu Sarya feels the apology tendered by Ekta Kapoor's production house Alt Balaji, following his allegation of poster conception plagiarism, is brazen, disrespectful, inconsiderate, and smacks of arrogance. Paria had earlier pointed out that the poster of Kapoor's upcoming show, his story, is similar to that of his film Love. Expressing his mind with an emotional outburst during a video interaction with media, Saria said, "I have to say, my first reaction was numbness, and then it knocked the wind out of me. I found myself instinctively so angry that I could not even explain it. This action is brazen, disrespectful, inconsiderate, careless, and smacks of arrogance. It made me show that I do not matter at all. They saw the poster, they took it and reused it, thinking I am such a nobody in the business that no one would notice who originally created the poster. They thought I am insignificant. I'm in the business for the last 18 years." He also demanded a public apology from the production house to the maker of the original poster. On Sunday, Alt Balaji put out a statement on social media that reads, "On the 9th of April, we released a poster of his story and were made aware of the existence of Sudhanshu's love poster. The uncanny resemblance and similarity cannot be written off as mere coincidence. It has been an oversight on part of our design team. For this, we apologize. We respect the creativity of every designer and would never intentionally lift their work nor disregard their talent. Thus, an apology to the artists involved in the making of this poster is warranted. We have deleted the poster from all our platforms, and we humbly apologize to the artists involved in the creation of the beautiful poster of love." See how Ekta Kapoor lies. Because in 2016 also, she had copied a poster from a photographer, a Hungarian photographer, which I had revealed yesterday. So it's just that these people don't care a damn whether you, file a case against them or, protest against them, because they have very powerful politicians supporting them. So nothing can touch them. That's all the news for now, friends. Let me see your comments as well before I end the show. Hi, Reena. Hello, Parul. Parul, we are not going to watch any of the movies. They are just using SSR's name for money. Boycott Bollywood, justice for Sushant Singh Rajput. Yes, Parul, we agree with you. Stella Francis, don't forget the subtitles, please. Dear Meena. Yes, I'll try to do that, Stella. Good evening, Dhruv. Good evening, Lakshman. Good evening, Netu. Happy Gudi Padwa to you as well. Happy Navratri. Geeta, if he's a fan of Sush, he should fight for his justice, not act in a movie for money. Boycott Bollywood forever. Absolutely. Geeta, I agree with you on that. Shashank, one by one, all will be caught. Yes, this is what we hope. Stella Francis, Mumbai city of all depravity and perversion like the biblical Babylon. New Babylon, actually horrible and unbearable. Yes. Anuradha, incidentally, I saw many Pakistanis critiquing Sushant Singh Rajput on how he was trying to emulate Shah Rukh, and they all disapproved of that in the thread. Thread is dated back before this. Before his death, okay. This is all just trying to build a hatred for a person the whole world admires. Play with Vihan. Is there any connection between murders of SSR and Parveen Babi? Definitely. There is a complete mafia working behind this Play with Vihan. Andrea Shankar, beware of their trickery. The bullyweed using SSR lookalike only for monetary gains. They do not care about anything else. Boycott. Yes, Andrea, because I also feel that they are just trying to test waters and see the emotions of public, whether they would respond and they would say that they would go ahead and watch the movie and make it popular. Anuradha, it's just sad that they're drawing so many connections. Sometimes feels like it's being done deliberately to delay justice for this case. It's not fair. Yes. Michelle? Hello, Michelle. Devanushi, they just get away with their money power and association with these powerful people. You won't believe it, Devanushi, since when it has started. Everything from even the Gunjan Saxena, everything they say, they just apologize and get away with murder. Unless our government is very strict and they throw out the politicians who are connected with them closely, who help these people, nothing is going to happen. Every time we see the kind of camaraderie these stars share with these politicians and with the underworld, and public just watches all this helplessly. Nitin, don't you think Smita Parekh is washing her dirty linen in public? The less said about these people, the better, because they've been now on an attacking spree, about me and my integrity. So it's just this just goes on, because that there's absolutely no sincerity involved, in some of these frontliners. They're just doing it for a certain reason. We all know what it is. Anuradha, meanwhile, I'm not denying the fact that substance abuse was common in all of these million cases they're connected to. Yes, Anuradha, I agree with you. Dhruv, surprisingly, Shilpa Shetty shared a TikTok video on 22nd June about Sachin Tiwari. He may be good looking, but no one can replace our SSR. Yes, he was a multi-talented, intelligent person. Yes, Dhruv, they are so, what do you say, they are in such a hurry, to forget the original Sushant and bring a lot of replicas, So it's just like, Shilpa Shetty, it must be very easy because she's been doing a lot of plastic surgery to cover up all her, deficiencies, So she thinks getting replicas of Sushant will also work. Anuradha, happy Vishu, Anuradha. It's tomorrow, isn't it? Thank you. Same to you. Rani Rao, good evening, Rani. You're from South Africa. Welcome. Ekta Kapoor supporting is vanishing. All the political support won't help when people revolt. Good riddance, Ekta. Yes, Sunil. See, I just don't understand how they do it so blatantly. For example, all these people who are complaining about plagiarism, they're telling them that, see, they have small jobs and they have small companies. How can they combat, such a big company like this? This is what they're exploiting. They're exploiting people who are working hard and who have small companies and they have small creative, departments, and they're, just telling them that, see, we don't care. We'll copy from you and you can't do a thing because you're small. It's such an arrogance that she has, which, people will, surely, revolt against. Ankita, good evening, ma'am. They're making fun of. Yes. As though if they do, it will have any effect. It won't, because everybody knew the caliber of Sushant Singh Rajput. He was intelligent. He was, studious. He had a million qualities which none of them, right from Akshay Kumar to Salman Khan, can ever possess. Because they, first of all, as this Nawazuddin Siddiqui said very clearly, they can't act for nuts. And they all look so old now, and still they come with teenage, actresses thinking that they still look like boys. When will this end? Dania Rajesh, happy Vishu. Same to you, Rajesh. Manju, nice to see you. Inaji, thank you, Manju. So sweet of you. Marietta, good evening, ma'am. Happy Gudi Padwa and God bless you. Same to you. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this session, friends. And if you feel happy about it, just give it a thumbs up and please share it with your friends. It helps me a lot. Thank you and good night.